Hi, you're watching Making of a Millennial Mogul. I'm your host, Amoy. Today I'm sitting with Jon Manning. He's the founder of the Table Solutions, which encompasses a direct marketing company for Fortune 500 businesses and a entrepreneur coaching business. And I'm really excited to talk with him today to find out more about how he started his career, how he brought his company to make millions of dollars in revenue. And he's also my mentor, so of course I'm a fan. Jon, thank you so much for sitting with me today.
Definitely excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Like I said, I love the show. This is something I tell you all the time. Congratulations for doing this, and I'm excited to see where it's going to take off.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Always appreciate your support. So, when did you start your career in direct marketing?
All right, so I was 19, and I was working for my brother at the time, doing construction. Me and my best friend, he hit hard times in his business, and we were pretty much working for free. We were working probably 2 months for patties and cocoa breads and pizzas, and it just made me not really like that world too much. I was kind of miserable. I wanted to, at that time, I was doing it because I wanted to get married to my son's mom at the time, and I was trying to get some money in and try to build some life at 19 years old, right? Mm-hmm. I bumped up on this Millennial, which was sitting down at the pizza store. The house where we were doing the site, his marketing office was right across the street. So I was in school for marketing management at the time, and I saw this little building that had marketing. So I was like, this little marketing, So, we were sitting down at the pizza store. I saw these guys, man, they were so excited. And this guy came to me. He was like, hey, man, we're recruiting people, looking for people, are you interested, blah, blah. So I started asking him questions, like, real, because, he saw me in construction clothes, so he didn't think I had, like, he didn't think I was in school for the night. Well, I don't know what he was thinking. So I just said, so what's this all about? Like, asked him some real hard question. He couldn't answer it. So he said, listen, like, if you really want to know what's up, go speak to this guy over here. So there was this guy, he was about 27 at the time, Mike Diadamo. He took me and my friend into his office and spoke to us for 4 hours. The first thing he showed us was a $40,000 check that he made in a week. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, nobody I know makes that in a year, so teach me. So he started really pouring into me about, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, giving me books to read, different things like that. I took a jump, and I took a risk, something that I'm not telling anybody to do, but I dropped out of school. And I decided, I sat him down. I looked at him face to face. I said, hey, brother, listen, man, if this is real, I want you to really train me and teach me. Dropped out, came to work in his business. And he was pouring into me day in, day out, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, me 8 o'clock in the morning. It was a real hard experience for just learning that world of direct marketing from. And then on top of that, just even throw it out there, a lot of things I was learning firsthand. I noticed that a lot of the professors did not know, So I was asking them questions, and I realized that a lot of the things that I was asking them, they had no idea what I was talking about. So it really dawned on me that a lot of them were teaching from places that they didn't really know, teaching business, but they never had one. So it kind of made me just jump right in and get coached the right way.
Awesome. It sounds like you got out early. Because honestly, if I believe obviously school is a great option. I'm a fan of education.
Definitely
but
not knocking it. If you asked me 10 years ago, I would have been. I would have been knocking it, but
right.
Definitely much more mature now. Knows that there's value, especially for certain things that you want to do. Like, my doctor has to go to school, right?
He better go to school.
Yeah, he can't wake up with like inspiration, like, okay, let me just, perform heart surgery on you.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like, so school is definitely important, but I do feel like for certain things is overrated,
Absolutely.
especially when it comes on to developing and growing the business.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Sounds like to me at the time you made the best choice for you, and it seemed to have worked out pretty well.
Well, it wasn't easy. Definitely my family, they were not happy with the choice, especially my mom. So that was rough. Of course, in that time period, just when you're building business and you believe in something, and people that don't really understand that world, people fear what they don't understand. So. They really didn't understand what I was doing, and it was rough, But the greatest way to prove what you're doing is valid is by getting results.
When you started working with Mike, who was your mentor, when
Yeah.
did you, how long, I guess, did you work with him before going off on your own to start your own
Cool.
company?
Definitely a great story. I actually left Mike for a period of time because of fear, which is the number one thing that keeps people bound. My son's mother called me and she said, "Hey, John, I missed my monthly friend, right?" And I was like, "Okay." She said, "No, I missed it for like 2, 3 months now." So
This was before your son was born.
yeah.
You know what I
So,
mean?
to me, I was like, okay, man, I'm about to have a child. This is probably too risky of a world. I started getting back into, okay, cool, I gotta get into a steady job. I left. I went working for the Board of Education again because I had a lot of experience in that. The manager was having a manager's meeting with pretty much all the workers there, and he said something that kind of changed everything. He said, he was mad about something. I guess a couple of workers, they weren't really doing their thing, and he said, "Do you know that I can cut your pay?" And when he said that, I mean, it was like, because spending like 2 years with a millionaire teaching you how to do things. I was running an office in Baltimore, and now it's like, do you know I can cut your pay? I was only making like $13, $14 an hour. I mean, what
What are you going to cut
what are
from
you gonna
that?
cut? You know what I mean? Like, so to me, like the fact that like my future was in his hands. You know what I mean? I just shook his hands after the meeting. Then I said, "Okay, thank you so much." You know what I mean? It had nothing to do with me, but just I said that I can't do this. So pretty much, I went with my brother and we started a juice business for about 6 to 7 years, which is still going now in New York. And we were selling juices all across Brooklyn, and people were calling me Juice Man, and or Juice Man Junior. They still call me that if they see me now. You know what I mean? Hey, Juice Man. You know what I mean? So that gave me a lot more direct marketing experience, direct to the customer. The hard realities of entrepreneurship. I think that was really where a lot of the base came from because, we made all the juices, we packaged everything, so we had to wake up 4:30 in the morning, go to the warehouse, buy all the fruits, do everything. You know what I mean? Clean up, cook. So that was the real okay. So with the direct marketing experience that I had from Mike in terms of how to market for companies, and then with the experience of the juice company, it was a great world. So pretty much Mike gave me a call years later. Could we remain good friends? Of course, you don't want to ever lose people like that in your life. So he gave me a call. He said, "Hey, John, I have a contract here in Brooklyn, and I told him, I said, hey, I want to do my own thing, and I want to be independent." He said, "Sure, no problem. Just take the contract and do your thing. Call me for coaching, anything that I need." We took it, and we got the ball rolling. Yeah.
So your direct marketing business has brought in millions of dollars in revenue.
Absolutely.
And it was what, about 2 to 3 years
Yeah,
ago?
we started about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And the first year, it was a blessing more than I can even imagine. We started hiring people all across the country. We had people in Florida, in Atlanta, Cleveland, Pennsylvania, New York. We were really just ramping it, man. We were all over, bringing in a whole lot of revenue as as a volume of the organization. Obviously, I didn't make the million in my personal pocket. That's coming very very close, very soon to that. But in terms of the volume of the entire organization, yeah, we were able to do something great that year. And there's a lot of road bumps along the way, but it was great. It was sweet.
Okay, tell us about some of those road bumps on the journey to your first million for the company.
I was one of those like, weird stories, right? So my first year was like amazing. So in terms of like, when people talk about the struggle that they faced in the first year, yeah, that wasn't my thing. I mean, of course, I had, a lot of experience with, getting coached from my mentor and different things like that. I was one of those guys that, if he said, "Hey, John, listen, man, I think you should go to Africa, bro. I think it's great." It was like, okay, Africa, here we come. You know what I mean? And I was just straight gunning it. But then I got into this cruise mode, and I got into this moment where money is just coming in. I'm talking about we are blowing money. I mean, blowing it for just no reason. Went out to eat every night. I paid for everybody almost all the time. We were almost spending like $1,000 a week on food, just food, and just a lot of different crazy things. I'm from Brooklyn, right? So, being from Brooklyn, not having money for so long, remembering the times when, even when I was doing the juice business, not being able to take care of my son the way I wanted to, give him diapers the way I wanted to. Now it's like, man, I got this great campaign. We're rocking, we're rolling. Just everybody's making money. Everybody's happy. Yeah, it's just such fruitful time periods. And then we lost the contract. So we lost the contract, and literally just like that, picture having like offices in various different parts of the country on one contract, and you lose that contract. Now we have to find another contract. And between finding the next contract, and it was just a cycle of just not really understanding the industry like I do now. It started getting to a point where it was, I was in cruise, right? I wasn't really pushing like I was the first year. Now it was like, okay, cruise mode. When you build such a great organization like that, and you go into cruise mode, it doesn't fall overnight, right? There's people that's still loyal to you. They're still like, I'm gonna see it through, but just give it time. Give it time. Eventually, you're gonna start realizing that it's not as big as it should. And we lost almost everything. Me and Laura, there was one time we looked up.
Laura is your wife.
Yeah, Laura's my wife. Just to throw it out there. And shout out to Laura. There was moments where we, obviously we were fighting a lot during that time period. It was just a lot of stressful time, and I was in cruise, even when it was, because, like the example that I use all the time, and I heard E.T., the hip hop preacher, use it, which I was like, man, I must be onto something, right? Because, but I was watching Dark Knight Rises, and Dark Knight, that's like my favorite series, right? So if there's anything I'm watching all the time, it's like Dark Knight Rises, Godfather, all that stuff. That's like every month, right? So I'm watching Dark Knight Rises, and Batman in the beginning, right? Batman had a lot of success, right? In Batman Begins, right? So his first year was like,
it was lit.
Like, I'm Batman, I'm the man, right? So Dark Knight came, and, with Joker, he's still killing it, gunning it, whatever. Towards the end, however, when they started Dark Knight Rises in the beginning, he's in cruise now. He hasn't been Batman for 7-8 years. He's, chilling. Now Bane comes on the scene, and now he's starting to create this level of havoc in the community, right? So Batman now thinks that he has the strength that he did before, right? So he just said, all right, cool, man. Like Alfred's telling him, like, ease back, bro. Like, you've been out the game for a while, you know what I mean? So, but he's like, nah, man, I'm Batman. So put on his suit, went to go see Bane in the initial phases. Threw the first punch, Bane caught the punch, right? Caught the punch, looked at him and said, oh, these has cost you your strength. Victory has defeated you, And to me, it's like, that was like, whoa. Like, I felt like, I watched it so many times, but for some reason, it's like this one particular time I was watching, I was like, oh snap, that's me. You know what I mean? It's like you get so caught up in victory that you think that, okay, now I have the strength to go do what I did at the beginning, and you don't have that strength. And of course, Batman got beat to a pulp. So that was me. You know what I mean? Now I needed to, I started losing campaigns, offices, car got repoed. I mean, eviction notices. I mean, it was just losing. And I'm just still cruising. But now my wife is like, John, you got to get up. We got to do something. And I'm just there like, let's go fight. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, it was all mental. So, we ate Little Caesars every night, $5. There were times where we had to go sell water to pay for the rent for the office. I'm talking about just like real entrepreneur. That's why when people talk about their stories and stuff like that, I'm like, sure, you know what I mean? Because not one time did I think about finding a job. You know what I mean? Like my wife knows that if there's anything that she would never hear from me in life is, I would sell water at the corner every single day of my life before I go find a job. You know what I mean? I'm a real entrepreneur bred. You know what I mean? So, we were doing different things to try to keep, and then, yeah, we just had a real epiphany to really just keep things in grind mode. And, from that point, it's been rolling. It's been rolling ever since.
When did you begin, coaching entrepreneurs, and actually what, inspired you, or, what made you decide, I'm gonna teach other people to do what I do?
I have a gift for this teaching entrepreneurs thing, right? So it's something that I did get from my mentor also. I tell people all the time, like, if you think I'm great, I'm a great teacher, man, if you hear him teach, you know what I mean? He was the guy that I was, like, studying, like, I want to teach like this guy, But, I started realizing a lot of my friends, a lot of people that I knew, they wanted to start a business. They had no concept on what it really takes. A lot of people, they thought that the concept of starting a business was creating a website and creating a logo. That was their concept of business. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So it's like I want to start a business. Ooh, I got my registration. Ooh, I got my website. I got my logo. Here's my business cards. That's the furthest, and this is my product. That's the furthest your mind goes. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I do the direct sales for company, and I know that is the business, right? So if the company does not get sales, they don't have a business, right? Don't care. I mean, anybody can spend $300, $400 to get a registry for, John the Millie TV X dot whatever. Okay, cool. I got my registration. Boom. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm a CEO. CEO of what? A $0 company. That's what you are. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, okay, let's teach the real things that's needed. You know what I mean? Take the idea, let's formulate it together. So, I had a gift of that. I joke around all the time. I said pretty much, all the girlfriends that I had in life, I kind of always inspired them to start a business, right? So some of them actually had businesses, got started, or I was just pushing them like, we're gonna do business, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't be around me talking to me every single day, and you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna do something together. So, if you were around me all the time, then your mind just naturally started shifting. It's this, there's no way you could talk to me every day and not shift that way. So, being that I realized that I had that gift, people were always hitting me up, asking me if I could mentor them. Of course, I never had any time to do that because my personal business. But when I started realizing that I wanna be known when I'm like 80, 90 and looking to check out of this world, right? Like clock out. I want people to say, man, John was able to help a lot of entrepreneurs get their business not only started, but rolling and making money that they don't have to feel like they're stuck. So Rosa Velez, she is the very first person that I started mentoring, like in terms of this style. She hit me up, and we sat down for lunch, and from her, it just started rolling. People kept, referring. Obviously, I didn't know you, obviously, a few years ago. One of my friends referred you to me, and it's been rolling ever since.
You've had a lot of experience owning and running your own businesses, failing, falling down, bootstrapping your way back up. What would you say has been the number one skill or tool that has helped you to reach your current level of success?
Thinking big. I think that would be the first thing that would be the major difference maker. Being around a millionaire and looking at the way he thinks, the way he operates, the way he handles his business, the way he builds offices, like it forces you to think bigger. You know what I mean? Like you don't think on a small level. You think about how big you can do something. So the truth is. A lot of people, they want to start business, but they don't think that their business could even do six figures, right? We're not even talking about six figures. We're trying to have the business in like eight figures. You know what I mean? The more, you know what I mean? Like whatever it can possibly do. So I think thinking big and not quitting. If I can throw a second one, because everybody quits. They quit in various different ways, right? Whenever the times get rough. The initial thing for a person to do is to quit. That's just the initial thing that comes in their mind. Oh, this is too much. John, I got bills to pay. I got this to do, whatever like that. And there's something that I say all the time. Success doesn't care about the things that we care about, right? So whatever success is, like it doesn't care at all about the fact that you had a death in the family, you're sick, your bills. Nothing. When you said, I want to do this, and this is my goal, and I want to achieve it, and whatever that is, right, that's success. Like, and we had our meeting about that, I think, in our second meeting, right? Like, what is your idea of success? What's your reason for doing whatever you want to do now, right? The road bumps that you face in order for you to get to that point, success doesn't care. It doesn't say, okay, cool, now that you're in the hospital, I'm going to come closer to you now so you can grab it, all right? I'm so sorry. What, you lost your leg? Okay, cool, here, you can take it. It doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's still going to be there waiting for you and seeing if you have the mental fortitude to actually push through it. And one thing I've learned is majority of people, they quit, and that's the reason why they never see success. There's like a certain point where people quit, right? So we all start a race. And in the beginning of the race, everybody's excited, right? So, you're tying your shoelace, you giving high fives, like, yo, we about to do this, right? And that's normally the normal entrepreneur, right? I got the most greatest idea. It's going to be successful, right? It's going to make a lot of money, right? And then they get to a point where what every entrepreneur will face, rough times, right? Will. There is no smooth path, right? You will face rough times just like how I said I did, right? Nobody's immune to that. If you feel like it's going to be smooth, which is what most people think it's going to be, right? They don't think about, man, there might be losses. Man, I might have to downgrade life. Man, I probably can't go out on the weekends like I want to or do. They quit at that point, where it gets too stressful. Somebody's sick and this is happening. Oh, this is so overwhelming. I can't do it. Oh, I can't do it. Call me John. I can't do it. It's so overwhelming. Success don't care. Like, you want me to care? Cool, but I'm not success. I'm only success for like Laura. You know what I mean? But I'm not your success. So if you want me to care, you want to convince me, sure, I'll give you a hug. Success, however, is still there. And if you don't have the mental fortitude to push it and say, yo, I'm going to overcome. If I say, yo, I'm from Brooklyn. So, I'm going to overcome, then you will never get a chance to experience it.
What would you say is the most common mistake that entrepreneurs make, including yourself?
Laziness and thinking small. So I know you always tell me one. I'm gonna give you two. All right. So laziness, right, is the thing that I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs face for many reasons. Because one, they probably did not analyze the level of work needed in order to get the business moving, right? They probably didn't process that. Like, okay, I'm going to have to work, right? We process work for somebody else, right? So yeah, I'm going to go work. They don't process that for their own business, right? I'm going to give an hour, and my business should be happy that I gave the hour to that. You know what I mean? Like, that's how they think it. Like, oh, give them a little, they don't. No, you got to work. You're building something to be something. You know what I mean? Like from nothing to something. So laziness is that thing. You know what I mean? Being on Facebook all day, being on Instagram all day, watching other success stories. You know what I mean? Just watching other people just constantly get to the next level. There's, something I told you all the time. I said, I was like, Amori, listen, man, there's somebody in Patterson this year that will make six figures, and they were in worse ruts than you, it can definitely be you. You know what I mean? And just pushing past that point where we feel like, or even another thing that causes people to be lazy is there's just certain things that they don't want to do, right? They're afraid of certain things, right? Like I'm afraid of a no. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid to actually like go on the streets and like hand out like, oh my gosh, that's so scary. I can't do it. So it's like they don't want to do. There's a quote that we were taught 12 years ago that really is the central focus of everything we do. It says we do the things today that most people aren't willing to do, so that we can afford to do things tomorrow that most people can't afford to do. Right. So my thing is, we do the things today that most people are not willing to do. So if you can push yourself to do things that most people don't like to do, most people don't like commission, right? Most people don't like to get rejections, get no's. Oh, they want everybody to love them. Everybody needs to love this. Everybody needs to love this interview right here. You know what I mean? Like if we think from that perspective, it would cause us to not push as hard because we don't like rejection. But rejection is needed for success, right? So laziness is one of those things, and then thinking small. Thinking small is a crippling factor for entrepreneurs because they don't really think that their businesses can actually bring them a substantial amount of income that can take care of their lives. So they start a business. I want to start a cupcake business, right? I want to start a juice business, or I want to start this business, and they have the idea. They tell the whole world on Facebook. They get all the congratulations, I'm so proud of you. And here's my business card, everybody. Congratulations. Here's my logo, my Facebook page. Everybody likes this Facebook page. Everybody likes the website. And then they get the cold hard reality. Everybody's not going to like your juice. Everybody's not going to like your product. Everybody's not going to like, you know what I mean?
Cupcakes,
So if you want a million people buying your product, right, or you want 100,000 people buying your product, 100,000 people is not going to just buy it. Like your first 100,000, no. You're going to have people that's going to promise you and not pay you, people that's going to, ignore you altogether, forget that you even existed in the planet, right? You're going to shoot them out messages that it's going to be like ghost, right? That comes with business, right? Hey, can you try this? Can you do that? Like you say, like, hey, hi, how is everything? Everything's great. Hey, I have a quick question. Sure, shoot it. I have a great product. I would love for you to do it. And then all of a sudden it's like, goes, hello, hello. You know what I mean? It's like, so, like you're not going to get everybody loving. You have to think bigger. You know what I mean? When Beyonce comes out with a video, she doesn't expect everybody to press like. The most greatest, you can give $1 million to the poor right now and you're going to see dislikes. That just comes with the nature of what this law of averages thing is. So you got to think bigger. You got to think bigger, and you got to push yourself beyond rejection, beyond those points.
You said some common mistakes that entrepreneurs make, including yourself, is laziness, being lazy, or thinking small. What are your tips for combating those two things, vices, I would say?
Okay, so how do we combat laziness, right? One of the things that I would suggest is to put things on your calendar, like live off your calendar. That's one thing that has been probably the number one help for me, right? To live off my calendar, and not really a to-do list. Not really a to-do list. Live off your calendar. I learned that by Darren Hardy, so shout out to Darren Hardy, right? So don't think this is just like John's, like Darren Hardy is my favorite. If you buy all Darren Hardy stuff, but he said live off your calendar, right? And that has helped me out a lot because sometimes you have a to-do list. I got to do this, and then you only did one thing and that's it. You know
Right.
what I mean? Or maybe not even that one thing because there's no time. There's no, you know what I mean? It's like, so you got motivation to write the to-do list and then there's like nothing being done, right?
Yeah.
So, put it on your calendar. You know what I mean? Like take out your calendar and say, okay, between 8 to 9 I need to do this. Between 9 to 10 I need to do this. And you start to put the different things that you need to do at this time and put an alert to yourself. You know what I mean? So like for example, this session is on my calendar. After I leave this session, my phone will alert me to go to the next thing that I need to do, which is the next meeting. You know what I mean? So everything I live on my calendar, which keeps me always in in an action mode. You know what I mean? I'm not talking longer than I need to talk, right? I'm not on the phone wasting like 4 hours and then alerts. It's like I'm putting myself on a nice regime. You know, if I want to spend time with my family, like next week I'm taking my son to Cleveland, right? So majority of that week is investing in spending time with him, right? So if you look at my calendar, a lot of times it's like, all right, go to the movies, you know what I mean? We're going to the game, we're going to, you know what I mean? Just various different things like that. So I would say that is one. Two, get a mentor, all right? If you need a mentor, guys, my name is Jon Manning. I just play it. Actually, I'm not. Get a mentor because sometimes you need somebody to kick you in the butt, right? Like, I need that. Like, I needed that. I mean, I needed somebody to be like, "You're lazy, John." You know, that's how I do to you guys all the time, right? You know, like you calling me, I'm like, "That's a bunch of foolishness." Like, you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? But you need that. You need somebody that's gonna, like, you don't want somebody that's gonna give you the, "Oh, okay, that's cool." You know what I mean? That's your friends. You know what I mean? Like that's my wife, right? Like Laura. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's cool, it's nice. Needing somebody to say, no, that's crap. No, that's a silly idea actually. All right, no, that's laziness. And trigger or like send me an alert. Hey, did you do that yet? Did you do it yet? No, you didn't do it. Oh, what happened, huh? Something happened. Oh, what your car? Well, you need a gas today. What for the whole week? You know what I mean? It's like you start talking. And then they start realizing, okay, yeah, I just made a whole bunch of excuses, so maybe I need to do this, right? So get a mentor. That will help you, get the thing done. And get started today. Get started today, not tomorrow. Don't leave it till tomorrow. Everything takes a second decision. If you always say, yeah, next week I'm going to start a business. Like somebody called me the other day, when are you going to start a business? Yeah, I'm going to start next year. It's like, get started, right? Get started because your ability to get started already puts you light years ahead of everybody else. So, yeah, I would say that's the tips.
Awesome. Well, that actually, wraps everything up. This was really incredible. Thank you so much for
Thank you for having me.
sharing all of that, kind of bringing us through your journey and sharing your awesome tips for success. A lot of those, like living off your calendar. I've done that once,
Okay.
and I was successful while doing it. And so
until you forgot to put it on the next calendar for the next day.
right.
I was good today, but I forgot tomorrow, right? So,
right. But this has been an incredible session. I want to thank you so much for taking the time, and of course, we'll be in touch. But if you guys want to, get in touch with Jon, can you share what your social media is?
Yeah, so you go on my social media and go to Jonathan Manning. Obviously, that's a common name, right? The profile picture. Jon Manning's Table, pretty much everywhere else on Snapchat, on Instagram. Jon Manning's Table, and follow me. Also you can hit up Amoy, and Amoy would, shoot you, I guess, my information if you need. But I also want to say, Amoy, very proud of you for, just, your hard grind. I just got to give the audience some little, insight. Being that I personally mentor Amoy, you know what I mean? Like, she is looking to do, amazing stuff, and definitely wanted to, on your platform, for your followers to let them know that, like, you're real. You're the real deal. Like the things that you're doing right now is, the things that entrepreneurs need to do in order for them to be successful. So when they view you as a success story 3 years from now, 4 years from now, they're going to remember, I remember Amoy when, you know what I mean? And where is she now? She's here now. She's in the front of magazines now. It's because of the same level of ability that you have now, just not being able to quit and just push forward and to take risk on yourself. And so I definitely want to give you some kudos and congratulations on that.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks again for sitting with me. Those very encouraging words. And thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed our session. Definitely like, comment, share, subscribe, send any comments over or any questions you may have. And as always, I appreciate you. Make sure you come back next week for more Making of a Millennial Mogul.